Let's have a listen to, in his own words, Michael Woods just giving us the announcement.
So, Michael, tell us your big news.
Sure. Well, I'm announcing that I'm standing for Labour in Mount Roskill in...
I didn't even realise it. What is that music?
Yeah.
What is that music? It's... What? I'm not the only one who thinks it's like...
So, Michael, tell us your big news.
Sure. Well, I'm announcing that I'm standing for Labour in Mount Roskill in 2026. So we're less than a year away from that general election, and I'm really thrilled to have been selected as the candidate. It's my home. It's a place I love. I obviously served in the community as the MP and in other roles in the past, and I'm ready to get into the fight and fight for the people of our community.
How did this come about? Did you approach Labor or did Labor approach you?
Yeah, well, we joined at the hip, really. Obviously, we lost the election in 2023. I lost the seat of Mount Roskill. And since then, we've just continued to work. So we recognised that we'd lost, that we had some work to do. So we've been on the ground, knocking on doors, holding meetings, talking to people. And over that time, I've been thinking quite a lot about whether this is something that I want to do or not. Because, 2023 was a very bruising experience. That really put me on the floor. And I needed to think about whether it was right for me, whether it was right for Labour. And over that time, I've reflected a lot and come to the view that what I really enjoy is fighting when I think that something is unfair or people aren't being treated well or the community's being neglected. And that's really led me to the point of wanting to stand. And I'm really thrilled that the party has chosen to support me in that.
Right. And so
And I think, sorry, I got distracted with my cat who's, I don't know what she was doing. He's been the CEO, chairman of E2, which is one of the major unions.
Oh.
So yeah, I think he's...
look.
There you go.
Didn't even plan that.
So we've seen him in the news quite a lot, obviously, in recent months. And he really is someone who walks the walk, not just talks the talk, in terms of fighting for people and what's right, and what's good for people, and what is just. I think he's also very much of the when he says joined at the hip, I think it's because he's very much part of that the Jacinda Robertson Hipkins era. He joined very much, joined at the Hipkins. I love that. It makes sense that he would be there as well. But I do. The media, like trying to find some of that stuff, like the media really, like I remember that. I wasn't like super into politics, but I remember that whole thing. Like it was this massive deal. This whole holding the shares thing. So I wonder if this will I don't know, will cause some issues. The next wee bit was actually, did you want to talk to that? Anything to add to that?
Nah, honestly, the only thing that I thought when I first saw all of this was like, are they bringing him back to roll Chippy? So honestly, that's the only thought that my brain has had so far, but I could be way off. Does look like he's got a bit of a CV at least to bring to the table when I was looking at him earlier.
For sure. This next bit I really liked because I think it's a really strong position of just like, we got to win. We got to roll these guys.
I've kept a really good relationship and dialogue with Chris Hipkins and made sure that he's aware of what I want to do and that he's supportive of that. That's really important. We want to win the election next year. We do want to change the government, want to make Chris Hipkins the Prime Minister, and we need to go forward as one unit. So great to have the local support and also the support of the party.
What have we learned about disclosing shares?
Yeah.
Well, obviously the big question of the night.
Yeah, the chat. This is pretty much all the chat's kind of talking about at the moment.
To be fair, this interview is only like 14 minutes. The entire thing is about the whole shares saga. There is nothing here about like anything. There's like a tiny wee bit about Etu and his role in that, but this whole thing is just asking questions about like, yeah, but did you learn about like conflict? Yeah, but did you like understand why that was a bad idea? But yeah, but did you understand like, you know, the whole shit? How are people going to react because they know you as this disgraced former MP that held $14,000 in shares? Ooh, like it's very aggressive. So, well, you don't need to watch the whole thing to get the idea that he is remorseful. He's learned something, and actually, he's here to do good. Let him speak for himself, though. What has he learned?
Look, it's pretty well known, to say the very least, that was something that I didn't do appropriately in my time in the previous, when I was in government in that period. We're saying I did disclose those shares. My failure was to not sell them as quickly as I should have. And that's entirely on me. Massive lesson learned from my point of view that when you're in one of those jobs that is all consuming, you're working 90 hours a week, you're trying to carve out bits of time to, be a half present dad and family, you've still got to look after those things that might seem annoying and like small jobs. They do still matter. I didn't do that. I apologised at the time, paid a huge professional and a massive personal cost that took me a long time to rebuild from. And it's something that is, a lesson that I have fully absorbed as I head into this process.
Did you make any decisions as minister with those shares in mind? Even, do you think, subconsciously?
Absolutely not. It was just something that was never particularly on my mind. I can be absolutely clear about that. For me, being in politics, both as a local MP and in my role as minister, your job is to serve your community and to serve the country. That's the approach I take. And, in 2023, when I did have to face up to these problems and face a massive amount of scrutiny, one of the things that was a small comfort in amongst that is that even while my political opponents were making this into an issue that they wanted to talk about, they never actually made an allegation that was a way in which I would behave, because I never would.
But when it...
Yeah, they made it a big spectacle, but they didn't say enough for it to come back on them eventually. Any thoughts on that? I think, I'll let you speak. Any thoughts?
I mean, I kind of did agree with that comment earlier of like, at least that, I've watched quite a apology video in my time, and honestly, that was actually a pretty decent one. Like, seemed like it had actual like reflection, like not only what was learnt, but how they would go forward. Like credit where credit's due. Seems like he has actually reflected on it, and I think it was actually a joke someone made up here about at least they're not Carl Bates. And I think that is one thing that, like, I get it, 14,000 in shares, definite conflict of interest, really bad. But I've seen some pretty horrible shit from this government in terms of personal conflicts of interest. So it does feel somewhat like, oh, cool, they're just going to find the tiniest little detail on Labour. Meanwhile, I don't know, maybe we should get that picture back of just the entire coalition of chaos on fire. It does seem very typical, I guess.
Would you like to hear, speaking of the opposition, thank you, Michael, for the segue. Would you like to hear how Chris Luxon reacted and what he said about this at the time? Because I think these words from 2023 might just a bit of a giggle, guys. Just a little giggle.
Oh, hell yeah, let's
about
go.
Corruption in our government. Go on.
Hell
a little
yeah.
bit of a giggle. Shall we?
Hell yeah, I'm down.
So the day is June 6th in 2023. The headline is increasingly untenable. Luxon on Woods Airport shares error. National leader Christopher Luxon says under fire Transport Minister Michael Woods' position is increasingly untenable after the latter's failure to immediately declare $13,000 worth of Auckland Airport shares, which is a fair amount, but like when we look at some of these other numbers in a minute, like this is nothing. So this is the Nationals acting spokesperson. Oh yeah, no, he is spokesperson. Paul Goldsmith, The Times, said it presents a clear conflict of interest for a Minister of Transport responsible for Auckland's transport network, and as a Minister of Auckland, as Transport Minister, Mr Wood continues to be responsible for the Auckland's light rail project, which is intended to link central Auckland to the airport. As Minister for Auckland, he frequently sits down to discuss Auckland transport issues with the Mayor and possibly its own investment in the airport. Mr Woods apologises for the error. He bought them as a teenager. They were in a trust. He was aiming to rectify it immediately, but in the end he took too long. This morning, Luxon said it was another Labour personnel issue and Hipkins should have suspended Wood on Friday. He should have spent the last 3 days finding out exactly what the story is and come today with some more proper answers. Luxon said was something seriously going wrong with Hipkins's management of his team. Oof. You sure about that, Luxon? You sure about that? We have absolute standards, and it's can't actually take this seriously. We have absolute standards, and it's mission critical in New Zealand that we can trust our government and our governance. That's built on our success in our system. As soon as you start to have relative standards, that's a real problem. What we've seen time and time again is a series of ministers, former ministers, not understanding cabinet manuals, codes of conduct, and actually not internalising that and actually taking action on it. Chris Hipkins comes out and says he's going to look into it every time he's looking into it, but he's not delivering an outcome. He's not getting a change in culture. Asked if he believed it was a sackable offence, Luxon said the situation was increasingly untenable. Luxon also said it was pretty easy to sell shares. That's fair. It's not rocket science to be able to sell shares. It doesn't take a long time to do that. Hipkins is expected to give an update on the issue later today. Yeah. So I actually couldn't read that without laughing.
Yeah, But also, why is that weirdly the most coherent thing from Luxon that I feel like I've heard in a long time? Obviously, it's from a while ago, but weirdly sounds like at least more coherent. There's a little less what I would say to use, isn't it? Yes, Luxon is, I would say, past the point of untenable for me, but here, yeah.
Would you like to hear further from Luxon
Let's
2 years ago? Almost 20 days later. No, go away. Almost go away, Luxon. Almost 20 days later, on June 21st in 2023, Wood's exit shows Chris Hipkins is weak. There's Luxon. National Party leader Christopher Luxon says Michael Woods' behaviour shows Prime Minister Chris Hipkins is weak and failed to manage his team's culture. Hipkins on Wednesday afternoon announced Wood had resigned all his portfolios, and it was discovered he had a trust with further undisclosed shares that would raise concerns about conflict of interest. Wood had been stood down as Transport Minister last month, etc., etc. Speaking to reporters before heading to the chambers, he's not building a strong culture, he says. He's not setting clear expectations, and certainly his ministers aren't listening to him, he said. The bottom line is Chris Hipkins is weak. He hasn't managed his team, and he hasn't managed the culture inside it. Oh my God. Is everyone just thinking about David Seymour driving up the steps of Parliament? Is anyone thinking about some of the weird shit that Winston Peters has said this
Andrew
last
Bailey,
year?
just in
Is
general.
anyone thinking Andrew Bailey situation?
Oh,
The list goes on. I
right.
don't
There's
even
actually
need
too
to.
many. We couldn't hold them all, even if we tried.
The biggest one is that we've time and time again, we have said it. He doesn't know how to deal with his co-leaders. Well, not his co-leaders, sorry, his coalition partners, his deputies. Like, he doesn't know how to fucking manage them. This is the shit coming out of his mouth 2 years ago. He's not building a strong culture. He's not setting clear expectations. His ministers aren't listening to him.
And I mean, what the whole bullshit with like Winnie keep going, we, like he's been really fucking on his ass. Like it's very, very funny and hypocritical. And I guess like what Pat likes to say, that we all hold this government to the standard that they held Labour to. So if we're using Chris
That's not
Luxon's
hard.
own, right, if we're using his own metric against himself, I think he failed profusely.
Do you want me to
But
read the next paragraph? You're going to
let's
absolutely shit your
go.
pants.
I mean, people are already pissing themselves in this chat, so why not go for full gold?
Oh, okay, when we go into government on, I try not to laugh. When we go into government on October 14th, I'll be crystal clear with all of my team on the culture and the expectations that I expect from them to manage conflicts of interest. But under Chris Hipkins in 5 months, we've had a litany of failures in terms of ministers not understanding the cabinet manual, not understanding their obligations, and not showing high integrity.
Integrity.
This is a government falling
crazy.
apart. The wheels are coming off. There's integrity issues and personnel issues every single week, and it's New Zealanders are over it.
Jesus Christ. Also, I see that crystal clear thing started back then. Ugh, I hate that. Just, hate that phrase.
I don't know if I could. He said he'd be ready if Hipkins called a snap election. I'm ready to go. I'll go any day. I'll go tomorrow. He's not doing the job, and I'll do the job for him. I'm very happy to do that.
Yikes. Being happy to do the job and being good at it is two completely fucking different things, isn't it?
Very much so. So it was Chris Luxon on the Michael Wood situation 2 years ago. So media, I don't think half of you are watching because it's Friday night, but if for some reason any of you are watching or listening, can I please ask you that if someone on the current government, especially if it comes from Christopher Luxon, can somebody please, if they comment on this Michael Wood situation coming back into politics, I, for the love of God, ask you to quote back his exact words and remind him of some of the shit that his coalition partners, his deputy prime ministers, have pulled over the last 2 years under his, not theirs. They may be the leaders of their parties. They are his people. He's the one in charge. You are the prime minister. You are the one in charge, Luxon. They are your responsibility. Please, for the love of God, if this becomes a whole bullshit thing to attack Labour over Michael Woods coming back in, please, for the love of God, use his words against him. And do not let him fucking stammer and weasel out of it. Piss me off.
Huhana, if you're listening, please. Although, actually, I'll probably send this clip into some group chat so we can get this circulating internally, because I'd love to see some of the Green MPs in question time fucking bring that shit. It'd be great. It'd be great. And I where did I lose it? No, come on. I like what Kiwi Boob had to say too. What's worse, cancelling ferries or owning $14,000 in airport shares? Pick one. Like, I know which one I'd pick. It's
Would
that's
you
the thing.
like
Hypocrites.
a reminder of the hypocrisy and the man of integrity? Not even this. Most of this isn't about even his team. This is about the man himself, who apparently leads a team of high integrity. Would you like to know just a reminder of some of the things that may have happened during his time as the leader of such a government of such integrity?
Oh yeah.
Maybe something to do with Luxon selling off his properties?
Mm.
Why does this have anything to do with anything? Oh, there we go. The latest sell was a two-bedroom unit. Latest sell that was in what was it? Was that December 2024, a year ago. He brought it for $620. He sold the property for $930. So we got about $309,000 on capital gains. He also sold a similar property on the same street as well. I think that one got him about $180,000. Oh no, sorry. Lovely. No, $280,000. Sorry, in capital gains, tax free. Yes, and another one, $180,000 in capital gains. Why is this relevant? Why is this relevant? Why is this relevant to conflicts of interest? Perchance, does anyone remember why this is a comment of relevance? Well, coming on into office, Luxon's government scrapped both of Labour's extensions to the Bright Line test, shifting it back to 2 years as of July 2024, which that means Luxon avoided being caught by the 5-year test by just over 2 months and saved himself up to $70,000. If he had sold the apartment in February when he declared he would move into the Premier House, he would have likely been required to pay the tax. Not only that, there was also the interest deductibility for a bunch of other stuff as well that he also changed. Yeah. So
like someone's asking how many GP visits that would pay for. Probably quite a few GP visits for that.
Could you imagine? I mean, $70,000 isn't even that fucking much. What did we just pull out? We just said 180,000. Oh, there it is. Almost 769,000. Sorry, $769,000 in total capital gains over the 3 sales. Tax free.
That's tax-free. Like basically a whole house.
And
yeah, you sell this many houses and you get one for free.
And he had the ability to change the Bright Line test, in which he then avoided paying some of that capital gains tax that he would have had to have paid on one of those properties. The rabbit hole goes deeper. I'll just quickly click through.
This is an awful hole, not a rabbit hole. This is awful.
Oh, look, there we go. There's one of the many headlines that I have that literally says conflict of interest. May this year, ministers continue to make decisions on fast-track projects after parties take donations linked to applicants.
Yep.
Integrity, guys. Just integrity. Just
integrity spelt like CORRU. You can finish that one.
And I'm pretty sure, where did it say what a conflict of interest was? Does it say in this one? No, I can't see it. Oh, it must have been one of the early ones. It basically just outlined what a conflict and there you go. Here's all the fucking headlines. There you go. There you go. Where was it? Oh, look. This is the one about who owns all the property. We talked about that earlier this year, didn't we? That was a good time.
All this property.
So Shane Jones and Chris Bishop continue to make decisions about several fast-track projects despite their respective parties receiving donations linked to the applicants. Such donations could be perceived as a conflict of interest and erode public trust in the government. However, both ministers said that the donations to parties were not considered to be a conflict. Okay.
Of course they weren't.
The long-standing approach of the Cabinet Office to donations to political parties is that they are not generally treated as resulting in a pecuniary conflict of interest for individual ministers belonging to the party. Political donation data released last week shows NZ First received donations from seafood company Sanford, mining company McKellen Bros, and the Ngāti Manuhiri Settlement Trust. National received donations from Russell Property Group and the company's director, Brett Russell. It also received donations from Gibston Valley Wines, which has directors links to the Gibston Valley residential projects. Projects from these companies are included in the fast-track legislation. Fast-track legislation formed part of the coalition agreement between NZ First and the National Party. The legislation, which is described as a one-stop shop for infrastructure and development projects approvals, passed into law in December 2024. It included a list of 149 projects, which can skip a referral stage and move straight to assessment by expert panels. Shane Jones says the CES project was put forward by an advisory group, which fell into mining, quarrying and aquaculture. He declared a conflict of interest for 8 projects and stood aside for these. He did not declare a conflict of interest for applicants from Sanford, blah, blah, blah. They also got more donations. Chris Bishop, National MP, assessed projects relating to housing, land development and infrastructure. He stood aside for one project, the assessment of Winton's Sunfield development. Blah, 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 blah. Company. Money. It just goes on.
Money.
Yeah.
I think as one of these comments puts it, corrupt bastards.
Yeah. So
It's a rule for thee and never for me, because white collar crime is not crime, but crimes of poverty are so bad, horrible. How dare you try to survive? Some of us are just trying to do this for funsies. It's just disgusting.
The thing that I think was the thing that kind of pulled it out to me is some of these headlines are actually really hard to find. And there's usually only one story on it. And the amount of fucking things I found just for the Michael Woods thing was crazy in comparison.
Oh, yeah.
People have their own opinions on this person and their biases. But here, from just a couple of months ago, September 2025, here's what MPs own shares in. So there's a report that gets done about, you have to declare your conflicts of interest, etc. There are basically nothing in here. No one's named. No one's named and blamed. It's just saying, Balance, Heartland Group show up, Silver Ferns is in there, Genesis, Meridian, Vector, Amazon. These are all companies that make sense to have shares in them, obviously. A significant proportion invested in residential property. Well, no wonder they don't like capital gains tax. Just under 30 MPs disclosed direct ownership of shares in listed companies in the latest register, but many more listed trusts that may also hold investments. So who knows? Obviously, KiwiSaver and then other managed funds. So it's, I assume, kind of diversified, etc. Many agricultural businesses, that makes sense. And a few privately held businesses running everything from hair salons to small goods and retail. This is the man who's the investment specialist. He just talks generally, about having shares and stuff. And then the last sort of bit is the cabinet manual said that if there was a conflict of interest, conflict between the minister's portfolio responsibilities and a personal investment interest that was substantial and enduring, it could be necessary to change their portfolio responsibilities. In 2023, then Michael Woods resigned after repeated failures to declare and sell his shares. Lots of things about Michael Woods, basically. And then that's it. That's the only minister that is talked about here. The only minister that is brought up. And yes, it's the one that's very popular, but that's it. That's the only person they bring up is direct shares, so conflict of interest, but there are other ways to have conflict of interest. I don't know, it's directly related to the story. I get it. And then there's Chris Finlayson, who's basically this is kind of shit. And then there's an Otago University professor who says the same thing. But it's a bit of a pile on again on the poor guy. I'm also piling it on because I'm also mentioning all of these things. But it would be nice to also in that story, at the very least, because it is directly related, mention one of the guys who forgot to declare his 29 properties because they're under a trust.
Yep.
To the party that was making changes to things like the bright line test. Seems
It's
worthy of mention in that story too, guys? Maybe?
yeah, I mean, that's what's always frustrating about. I mean, I don't know if you want to put back up I think I closed the meme PDF, but I got the meme. It just encompasses the story.
Which one?
It's
I got two memes.
just the one that says Magenta. Probably that
They
one.
both say Magenta.
On
The share
the
screen or the meme
yeah
slides?
screen. There you go. I don't know what it says to you.
That one.
It's just that.
That
Yeah.
one.
Like, they are just a dumpster fire, and this thing is, like, VHN has been honestly, just feels like that we've ended up getting to a point where we feel like we've got tinfoil fucking hats on the amount of times we have to feel like we have to point this shit out. Like, it's actually maddening, and I'll be honest, I am kinda looking forward to the holiday just because this year has been a lot, and I actually do need a break. Like, it's insane. We're watching corruption in front of our eyes, and not only that, we're paying them to be corrupt while they do this. So, like, I want my money back. I want everyone else's money back for them. It's just absolutely cooked.